Yes! Yes! We're back! We are back! And Ted, my boy, it's gonna be legend! Wait for it.
Welcome back to Fact Me Up channel. Get ready to dive into the world of How I Met Your Mother as we uncover 12 fascinating facts about the show that became a cultural phenomenon. From behind-the-scenes secrets to memorable moments, get ready to suit up and dive into the world of our beloved characters and the mysterious mother. Victoria almost ended up being the mother if the show got canceled. Like all shows, writers need to always be prepared on the off chance that their show gets canned. With a sitcom revolving around who the mother was, the writers needed to have an ending written just in case the show was canceled around season 2. They were going to have Victoria, Ted's main girlfriend in the first season, end up being revealed as the mother of his children. This wouldn't have been a bad move considering Victoria was a fan favorite among Ted's numerous girlfriends. Fortunately for the creators, the show became a success for CBS and ran for 9 seasons in total. Typically with sitcoms like Friends or Seinfeld, they use a multi-camera approach where a live audience watches each scene on set and the laughter is then recorded. But since the show constantly jumped between flashbacks and flash-forwards, How I Met Your Mother was filmed without the traditional live studio audience. Instead, each episode was filmed using a single camera approach, and the finished episode was later shown to an audience, and their reactions were recorded and added for broadcast. Single camera filming has become a common technique among more modern sitcoms like Modern Family and The Last Man on Earth after the success of How I Met Your Mother. Definitely the saddest moment on the show that had fans in tears was Marshall receiving the news about his father's passing.
My dad's dead?
Jason Segel did not know Marshall's father died when filming the heartbreaking scene in the episode Bad News. Apparently, Jason Segel was only told that the final scene of the episode was Marshall telling Lily that he can have kids. When Lily tells him about his father's death, Segel's reaction was genuine as he was completely caught off guard and had to improvise that heartbreaking performance.
I'm not ready for this.
Another fun fact is that throughout this episode, a silent and subtle countdown starting with 50 and going all the way down to 1 was displayed in the background, counting down to the climactic moment of Marshall receiving the devastating news from Lily about his father's passing. Allison Hannigan, Neil Patrick Harris, and Cobie Smulders each had their husbands play a guest spot on the show. Actor Alexis Denisof is married to Hannigan and plays the pervy Sandy Rivers, who is always one word away from a sexual harassment lawsuit. Harris's husband David Burtka plays Scooter, Lily's obsessive ex-boyfriend from high school who was ready to crash her wedding. Last but not least is Smulders' husband Taran Killam, who played Gary Blauman and did the disgusting and unforgivable act of stealing Barney's accidental curly fry.
What's an accidental curly?
Unlike what many fans have thought, the controversial ending was planned by the creators since the beginning of the show. Actor David Henry, who played Ted's son, revealed that he and his on-screen sister Lindsay Fornesca have known the show's ending for 9 years. Both stars were made to sign NDAs to protect the show's ending. Not knowing how long the show would be on the air, the creators decided to film all the shots with the kids during the end of season 1, so they would always look the same. A majority of the footage was just reaction shots, but the last few bits where they speak were pivotal to the show. It's a miracle that both stars didn't spill the beans, because it would have been catastrophic for the show and would have cost the actors quite a bit in legal fees. Due to Jason Segel's real-life smoking habit, he and his co-star and on-screen wife Allison Hannigan rarely kissed on-screen during the run of the show. Despite their perfect chemistry as a couple, actress Allison Hannigan wanted to limit the number of times she kissed Jason Segel, and kisses between the two were infrequently scripted at Hannigan's request. Segel was a constant smoker, which Allison was not a fan of. She even tried to convince Segel to start quitting, which he was initially on board with. They even made a bet where Segel had to pay Hannigan $10 for every cigarette he smoked. Unfortunately, much to Hannigan's disapproval, Segel ended up bringing back his habit due to high stress and long working hours. The show How I Met Your Mother has dealt with tragedy and illness in a respectful and nuanced way, but it's heartbreaking to know that some of the show's fictional woes steeped into reality as well. Well into the show's prime, Cobie Smulders was diagnosed with ovarian cancer in 2008. Just 25 at the time, Smulders didn't reveal her battle with ovarian cancer until the show was over when she was 36. Smulders cited spreading awareness for the disease and helping others get through such a tumultuous time when asked why she decided to reveal her diagnosis. Smulders was cancer-free 2 years later after a successful surgery and currently has 2 daughters with her husband Turin Killam, who played Gary Blauman on the show. Allison Hannigan was pregnant during the filming of Season 4. However, her character was not supposed to be, so the showrunners had to find ways to hide her pregnancy throughout many shots. Later during the season, Cobie Smulders also discovered she was pregnant. You'll notice that their characters are sitting down for a large portion of the season. The only time you actually see Hannigan's pregnant belly was during the scene where she wins a hot dog eating contest and has a huge stomach. After Hannigan had her baby, they wrote her off the show for a few episodes by having Barney tell her the infamous joke. Stella was originally going to be played by Alicia Silverstone. This was until Britney Spears had been cast as Stella's receptionist.
That's funny. That's funny, smart, and great.
Silverstone's representatives then pulled her from the show as they feared she would be overshadowed by Britney's appearance. Also, Britney Spears had personally reached out to the creators to have a guest spot on the show since she was a fan. The creators were hesitant at first since they thought she wanted to play Stella and they didn't want a big star to play her. Spears never had desired that part as she only wanted a small cameo. What's even more interesting, Neil Patrick Harris wanted to ban Britney Spears from the set, as he believed that the only reason Spears was brought to the show was to draw in more viewers, which would only be beneficial to the higher-ups and not the fans. He believed that adding more guest stars for the sake of guest stars would only make the show and its comedy suffer, resulting in viewers dropping off in the long term. Despite not being the main character on the show, Neil Patrick Harris earned the most out of all of his co-stars. Harris was the most famous and bankable when the show started airing, which is why his salary began above all of his fellow actors. As the show continued to rise in popularity, his salary rose just like his co-stars, but he was never eclipsed. Neil Patrick Harris made about $400,000 while his co-stars made about $225,000 per episode during the final season of the show. Barney Stinson was one of the most popular and quotable characters from the show, so it made sense that the creators had to keep Harris happy with his large paycheck. It's hard to imagine anyone but Neil Patrick Harris playing Barney, one of the funniest characters on TV. But before Harris landed the legendary role, Jim Parsons of Big Bang Theory actually auditioned for it. It's interesting to imagine how the dynamic of How I Met Your Mother might have changed with him in the role. Still, it wasn't a total loss for Parsons, since Big Bang Theory ended up becoming a huge success. In fact, Parsons was estimated to be earning around $27 million per season. The premise of How I Met Your Mother is loosely inspired by creators Carter Bay's and Craig Thomas's friendship when they both lived in New York City. They both had an idea to write a sitcom about their friends and the stupid stuff they did while living in New York. In fact, the character of Ted Mosby is based on Carter Bay's. Both are architects, share the same hometown of Shaker Heights in Ohio, are hopeless romantics and lovers of grand romantic gestures. While Marshall and Lily are loosely based on Craig Thomas and his wife Rebecca.